Good afternoon, Facebook. Time for another video on the election of 2019. I was about to say 2018, but I'm a year behind myself, I suppose, would be the way to look at that. So I'll just adjust this. There you go. Before we get into that, I just wanted to see if any of you saw yesterday's rant on the Greens and the left and what you thought. It's probably my most impassioned video on this election so far. I've got fairly strong opinions. G'day, Mark. Thanks for joining us. I've got fairly strong opinions. And Richard, thank you for joining us as well. Fairly strong opinions on the Greens, and sometimes my passion gets the better of me when I'm discussing them. But today I want to talk about power bills and the Liberal Party. So I think we all know that the Labor Party policy when it comes to power is extreme renewables in a short amount of time. I think it's 45% renewables by 2030 or something similar to that. The Liberal Party, I find them very disappointing on this front. So the Liberal Party's policy is essentially the same. The only real difference is the amount of renewables that they're going to use and that in that time. So, g'day, Evan. From memory, it's something like 28% or 35%. I can't really remember their target on renewable energy by 2030. My problem with renewables and my problem with this policy is the technology is just not good enough. It's very expensive to make. It's not carbon neutral or saving the environment for the most part, and it just doesn't work. Now, one day the technology probably will work, and I hope it does, because look, coal-fired power stations do pollute. That's true. And if we can come up with a better, more reliable, cleaner source of energy, then we should. And if that happens to be a wind farm or a solar farm down the track with superior battery technology, then great, I'm all for it. But at the moment, it costs more to build these things. It costs more to store the energy for use, and it's not reliable. So the Liberal Party's policy, for me, and this is part of my issue with the Liberal Party over, say, the last 10 years in general. They just look like Labor Party, just a little less extreme. There isn't a viable option on the other side of the aisle. That's why I think a lot of the smaller parties have become so popular over the last 10 years, and that's why I think you've got such a crossbench of minor parties in the Senate, because people are just going, well, the Liberal Party and the Labor Party, they don't look that much different to me. I want somebody in Parliament that is different, that represents my thoughts, my feelings, my position on things, and the major parties aren't doing it. So for me, the Liberal Party, just weak on this policy front. They don't offer anything of substantial differentiation to the Labor Party, and I think their policies, like the Labor Party policies on power, are just going to increase our power bills. We are the most expensive country in the world for power bills per capita. We live in a country that has a rich uranium source, but we have outlawed nuclear power. Explain that to me. It's actually one of the cleanest, most reliable and safest forms of power in the world, but we don't utilise it because of some sort of hysterical fear that they'll blow up and we'll all be irradiated and turn into some sort of mutant. It's just not reasonable to suggest that. Yeah, so for me, the Liberal Party fail on this. It's a fail from me. They don't offer anything of value. It's just Labor light, as the saying goes. Thank you for joining me again today. If you'd like to jump into the comment section, not the comics, and maybe give you some suggestions on topics I'd like to talk about. We've now got 9 days, if my math is right. I was never known for my math at school, until the election. So we've only got a week and a half, or not even a week and a half now, until we have to make probably one of the most important decisions as a nation that we've had to make in quite some time. So I really want to dig deep over the next week and a half on some things, but I'd really like to know what you would like to know. Is there anything you're not sure about, or even if you've got a different opinion about, I'd love to hear it. All right, guys, talk to you tomorrow.